Hey guys, Roman Trust here with Mission Forge, and today we're going to be talking about anvils. So you're going to see here, guys, I got a small little stack assembly of anvils here, and I'll post a couple pictures of what I'm talking about to help make your guys' life a little bit easier when we're discussing the anvil thing here. I'm going to talk about a couple things to look for, especially when you're starting out, and then later on what to look for when you start to want to get yourself a better quality anvil. So with that, let's go ahead and let's get into it. So the first thing you're going to do when it comes to anvils, you're going to want to look at something that has got generally mass. You want a lot of mass. The more mass, the better. But you're not always going to be able to get that. So a good option to start with may be, say, a railroad track anvil, which you'll see here, or using like a sledgehammer head, like a 10-pound, 15-pound sledgehammer head countersunk into a log. Those make okay anvils. I think the 10-pound hammerhead is actually a little bit better than the railroad track anvil, and I'll explain why in a minute. So what you really want to do is how much mass do you get underneath the hammer is what's important. So if you get that railroad track, right, it's shaped like an I-beam, okay? All that mass is literally right where you have that piece that comes up and down. So you got your top, your bottom, and the piece in the middle. That piece in the middle is where all the mass is. That is where you're going to want to hammer. If you hammer off to the sides of those, the steel is not going to move because there's not enough mass underneath that steel to move the steel. So you're gonna have to focus all your energy right on that little, I-beam portion, that piece that goes up and down. That's where you're gonna want to focus on. Now, I'm not a huge fan of railroad track anvils because, again, there's not a lot of mass. They're very lightweight, and people tend to charge just as much for those as they do regular anvils, which is ridiculous. Now, the hammerhead idea will be sunk into a log. Reason why I like that is because there's a lot more mass. It's a little bit bigger. You got a lot more to work with, and you're okay. Now, it's not very heavy. It's only about 10, 15 pounds, and it's not going to move steel very efficiently, but it's a little bit better. Now, another option you can do is get what's called an ASO, or an anvil-shaped object. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be shaped like an anvil, but it can be something like this. A big honking piece of steel like this. This here is about 120 pounds of steel. Now, this I found off of Craigslist or something like that. If you can go to a scrapyard and find something like this, great. Here in Florida, we can't. Somebody was selling these, and these were actually dies for a big old press, for like aluminum presses and stuff. This is a much better option compared to both of those because it's a much bigger surface and it's heavy and you got a lot more mass, and it will move steel very efficiently. Now, of course, you're missing out on like a horn, hardy hole, and all that stuff. But when you're first starting out, that's really not that important. I think I paid 60 bucks for this, so it really wasn't that expensive. If you get something like that, that is not a bad option, especially if you can find something that's like a block shape or a little squared or something like that. Even better than this round thing. All right, but what we got here is we definitely got mass and we got weight, and that's going to definitely help you out when you're forging. Now, the next option, which is, again, kind of controversial here, is going to be the Harbor Freight anvils. You can see there's an old school one here. There's another brand out there that's similar to this style here on Amazon and eBay, and you got the Harbor Freight one. These are both about 50. This is a 55 pound. This one's probably about the same. And I don't think those are bad options. One, they're cheap. They're about 50 bucks. And the reason everybody hates them because they're soft. Yes, they are soft. They're just cast ductile steel or something like that. So if the steel is not hot enough, you risk denting and putting dents and grooves and stuff in your dings in the face of the anvil. But if you're just starting out, that's not a big deal. You would probably rather screw up one of these anvils than a good quality one down here because these are costing a lot more money. These don't cost that much. So if you're a beginner, start with these anvils because you're going to have more mass than you would the railroad track anvil. You got a lot more weight. You got directly underneath the hammer below you. You have all the steel that you can work with. And, it gives you that sense of being actually like a blacksmith because it's an actual anvil. Now, again, they're very low quality and they're not great. But I used this one for many years. I have videos of me making stuff on this one. And I did a demonstration on this, making a knife on this anvil. And I had almost no damage to the face as long as you know what you're doing. So these are options. Not great options, but they are options. So that way you can get started and start blacksmithing. Now there is a better anvil than this, which is on eBay or Amazon. I'll put a picture here. It's 66 pounds. It's actually got a little bit harder face anvil. It's actually a hardened face anvil, and it's actually surprisingly really good. There's a lot of reviews on that one as well on YouTube, people demonstrating how to use that. Same with these ones here, there's videos. So these are valuable options. So if you're willing to spend a little bit more, get the one off of eBay or Amazon. It'll be a better bet. These ones here, again, it's got the mass, it's got a flat edge, it's got straight edges here, so that's much better for blacksmithing than a round piece of metal here, but it's flat edges, it's flat, and it's got mass is a good option for beginner blacksmiths. But let's say you're looking to improve or get better gear. Well, that's when you're going to want to go to something like this down here. This anvil here cost me about $1,000. That includes shipping and everything. 112-pound anvil. The face and the horn has all been hardened, and that is what you're going to be looking for when it comes to a good quality anvil. You need to have a good hard face on these anvils, because the harder the face, the less likely you're going to be able to put dings or nicks into it, and it helps move steel a bit more efficiently. Now, this has also got a lot more mass and a lot more weight, so that means less likely to move, and it's going to help transfer the energy back into that steel. So as you hammer, the steel goes, the energy goes through the steel down to this metal, and then generally back up in the steel, helping it move, and it will move more efficiently. So you really want to find an anvil that's got a lot of weight to it. The more weight, the better. And obviously a good hard face on there as well. Again, you also want nice straight edges along the edge here. Now, two things you also should look for in an anvil is going to be what's called a Purchase hole. I'll put a picture over here somewhere. And the Hardy hole. Again, picture. So like on mine, I got the Purchase hole right here. It's in the back. And the Hardy hole is up front. What the Purchase hole does is it's used for things like hold down tools and stuff like that. So it helps assist you when you are using a piece of you're trying to forge something. Like let's say you want to punch something, but you need to hold the hot piece of steel in place. A hold down tool goes in your Purchase hole, and it does a good job at holding it. So that's one thing to look for. And also, I use the Purchase hole a lot when I'm punching holes, so that way the little pucks will go through that. So I'm not having this big gaping, thing through, if I'm going through the Hardy hole, warping or defacing whatever it is I'm working on as much. So Purchase holes are handy for that. Now the Hardy hole, they usually come in several sizes. Usually 3/4 of an inch, 1 inch, 1.25 inch, and like 1.5 inch. And that's so you can put Hardy tools in it. They're just called Hardy. It's not Hardy tools, but we all call them Hardy tools. And that could be like a hot cut tool, a swage Hardy. You'll find like a cutting Hardy, so for like a cutting block, stuff like that. So there's a whole bunch of different type of Hardy attachments you can put in there, Hardy tools you can use. And you're going to want those because as you progress, you're going to need to use a Purchase hole, and you're going to need to use Hardy tools. So you might not need it as much if you're a knife maker, but for ornamental blacksmithing works, you're definitely going to need those. So look for something like that. Now, here's the next thing to look for when a good quality anvil, and that's going to be rebound. Now, rebound is not as important as most smiths make it out to believe. I am very fact-based, and I like to use science, stuff like this, and this kind of comes out as controversial. Rebound doesn't have as much to do with moving steel as most people think. So here's how you test rebound. Get yourself a 1-inch ball bearing, hold it about 10 inches up from the surface, drop it, measure when it bounces back up the first time. How high did it come back up? If it goes to the 8-inch mark, it's a 80% rebound. If it goes to the 7, 70%, and so on and so forth. You really want to be at the 70 to 80 to 90% rebound range. The better the rebound, the more steel it's going to move. Now, you just said Roman doesn't move as much steel as one think, and it doesn't. Okay, when Daniel Moss did his thing, there's another blacksmith out there, Trenton. He talks about it. What happens is because that steel is so hot, it absorbs a lot of that blow. It doesn't allow a lot of the energy to pass through and rebound back up. However, what we do know is that it does allow some energy pass through, and it does allow some to rebound back up. There is some. And what you want to do is you want to give yourself every advantage possible to move that steel as more efficiently and more effectively, because you will lose mass when you're forging the steel, and it will cool down really fast. So the more you can forge it and the more efficiently, the better. So when you're first learning, the rebound is negligible and not as important. That's why I say stick with these. These got terrible rebounds. Stick with these for learning purposes, because if you dent the face of these anvils, you're not going to be as upset as if you dent the face of this anvil. Every time I miss a blow because I'm trying to do something like a hammer and a bevel and I miss and I strike this, I cringe. And I have a couple little marks, like 2 or 3 marks because of that. I don't cringe when I do it on this because this was $50 and I don't care. I do cringe with this because it was $1,000 and I do care. But when I forge a knife on this, it makes the blade draw out faster and quicker and forms it faster and quicker than this because it does have that little bit of rebound that comes back up. All right. That's why I say rebound is important. It's not as important as you think it is though. So, and by how much faster? Probably just a few heats, 3-4 heats maybe faster. So I don't have to heat as much, which is good. I want to get it done and over with as fast as possible. Even though I enjoy smithing, but we don't want to ruin the steel too much and stress it too much with forging and losing mass from scale buildup and stuff. So you want somewhere between 70 and higher % rebound rate on a good quality anvil. So this here, not a great quality anvil, it's a medium quality, but a good one would be like a Peddington, which is now made by Rigid. I plan on getting one of those eventually, but those become expensive. So, but if you're looking to improve your blacksmithing or your gear while blacksmithing and you want to improve your one things I really recommend improving first would be an anvil. So get yourself an anvil that's good quality like this. It's going to cost a pretty penny. Make sure the face is hardened steel as well as the horn is hardened steel. You got a Purchase hole, you got a Hardy hole, and you have a rebound of at least 70% or better. So that way you can have the most effective forging thing, I guess. All right, go with that. All right, and also the more weight and the more mass, the more the steel will move and the better as well. So with that, guys, that's our anvil talk for today. Hopefully it wasn't too drawn out and it would help those out who are beginners, who are looking to learn a little bit more about anvils, and those who are looking to improve their blacksmithing hobby or in craft. You'll know what to look for when you go to get better gear. So that, guys, if you found this video helpful, entertaining, or disliked it, whatever, go ahead and hit that like button. Also, got any comments or suggestions, leave them down below, and don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit that bell for more notifications. But that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.